Hello and welcome to the Pixelated Realms Podcast, your guide through the digital landscape, untangling the latest and greatest in video game fun. I'm your host, Tyler Salerno, and alongside me is my friend Dustin. Unfortunately, Alex is not with us today for a good reason, albeit. So we are going to chug right along.
It's total horrible.
Yeah,
reason.
no, definitely attending weddings is a terrible reason not to join on our podcast. So regardless, we'll move. we will forge forward. A lot to talk about this week. I've been actually having a lot of fun playing quite a few games, which is kind of a bummer because like life just throws at you. You never know when a good game's gonna get thrown at you, so you're like could be bored a month and you're like, I'm just not feeling this, and then like suddenly 3 or 4 games hit you and you're like, shit, I'm enjoying all of these. Like you don't know which to pick.
More time.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. We have some great questions today. Thank you, everyone who submitted. I see Sam sent some questions in. Sam, we love you. We hope you're doing well, man. So yeah, let's get started today. Dustin, what have you been up to? Get us up to date.
Been playing. Is my screen blurry for you? It's kind of blurry.
It is a little blurry. Just let your camera will adjust. Just let it do its thing.
I moved. There we go.
There you go.
Been playing more games with Arthur. So we beat all 9 of the episodes in Star Wars Lego.
Wow.
So kind of.
And did you confirm it's the Skywalker saga?
It is the Skywalker saga. Yeah.
Okay.
The other saga is only 6 of the episodes.
Correct.
And this is all 9. So yeah.
Would you recommend it after getting through 9?
Yeah,
all 9 of them?
Good. It really follows the movies very closely. Obviously, like they glaze over some of the deaths, so that
it tones it down a little.
It's a kid's game, right? Or meant for like kids. So, they don't show much of the death, but I think it follows the story really well. Like again, like my son knows the Star Wars theme song now, and he sings it. So it's been really
make sure
great
he knows John Williams.
Yeah, so he's been playing with his Star Wars action figures that I bought him a while ago that he never had really engaged with a ton. Like he's always like R2-D2 and BB-8, but the rest of the characters he's never really cared much. And now he has like a lot more love. Like he's playing with like Han and Luke and C-3PO, who I hate still. He's having a lot of fun with that. So we finished it, and I was like, well, why don't we get another one? So I looked online on the PlayStation Store, and I bought Lego Avengers.
Nice. And, I was about to say that one's a pretty, that's a good one.
It's harder though. Like I don't know if I need to like turn on. I don't know. I know with Lego Star Wars, I like switched everything to like accessibility features.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I need to do. I think I need to do that again because the other one, just like the clues and hints were much more like
more clear. Yeah.
Like even for me, like I was sitting there with 10 minutes into the game and we ran into a gate, and like I'm sitting there for like 10 minutes. I was like, how the fuck is this gate open?
I mean, it was never like super easy. Yeah, like they never like
Yeah, so I had to like go over and like click I found like a little pile of Legos that had been deconstructed that weren't disappearing. I was like, okay, I gotta build this fucking thing.
Yeah,
I built it. But also I think like the tricky part too is that in Star Wars, all the Jedis have the same moveset.
Right.
Most of the other characters, like the moves are like very similar for every character.
But that's how the games work, right? Like you play a huge array of characters, right? But each character has a certain set of abilities.
It's not quite like that in Avengers though, because it's all the different heroes have such unique powers as their character that Hulk does smashing, and Iron Man, like you have to switch to Iron Man to melt like bars like with his laser beam, and so. Just the
Black Widow to crawl through spaces or something. Yeah,
it's a lot more variety across the characters in terms of movesets that you have to use to be able to get through certain puzzles. So I tried to refund it, and then PlayStation told me to fuck off because
PlayStation's not gonna let you do that.
Yeah, they don't have like a under 2 hours policy. So I was like, God damn it! I even told them that my son bought it unauthorized. And the guy was like, I was like, yeah. He's like, well, sir, once you download a game, it's no longer refundable. And I was like, but the game automatically downloads when you purchase it. What do you mean? And he's like, sir, the game has been played. And I was like, God damn it. I was like, you don't have to be rude about it, bro. Like, like fucking aggressive. So that didn't happen. So I got to check the settings to see if I can make it a little bit easier for him. But then he's been playing Minecraft at my parents' house with my nephew. And so I bought him Minecraft, and he's actually having a blast with it. Like, I've never played Minecraft. I'm not a Minecraft guy. But
that's a little after us.
Yeah, but he's been playing and like building like a house. He's only 4, so he can't do too much. But even I took the controller and I was like messing around. I was like, building his house, and it's very like the music is very peaceful. So
everyone like the people who play Minecraft swear by the music of just like putting it on in the background.
No, it's like total like ASMR like / like not
productivity works. Like calming, lo-fi.
What's that? Yeah, lo-fi. There we go. It's like
lo-fi.
It's like its own lo-fi channel.
No, there's lo-fi Minecraft for sure. Like,
I have no doubt. So
that's super cool.
And I googled it to kind of check into like, is Minecraft good for kids? And it's like, I put it to like the easiest mode, so they don't run into like the monsters and that aren't in it. So he doesn't get attacked by NPCs. So I mean, it's great for creativity and like problem solving, and so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it at a basic level, like Minecraft is a wonderful experience for kids. It's in a lot of ways, it's similar to Legos. It's, you're putting them into this world, right? They have to learn these rules through trial and error. It's very forgiving in the sense that, when you die, you respawn, but you still have to rework up to things. I think that's actually why it's always been so successful, is because children, it naturally is a learning tool. And thus children have fun. It's that you get that kind of like that you get a cyclical process of like, oh, I solved the problem, I'm enjoying myself. I have a new problem, I solved the problem, I'm enjoying myself. And I think, that's partially what leads to Minecraft's success. And then once you get comfortable, it becomes a sandbox, literally creating that term basically. So
definitely. So no, it's been fun. But playing games with the kid. Haven't started COD yet. I have it, but I will. And we're going to talk about COD more later. The other thing I wanted to quickly talk about is, Dragon Age came out. It's
so
the latest controversy.
So, I'm a little confused about that, though, because it's like everyone was releasing, like, I played 100 hours and 3 playthroughs. And then I was like, doesn't it release, like, tomorrow? Like, what are these early copies? Like, I don't... I'm a little...
So, most publishers... If a publisher thinks that their game is going to be good, a lot of publishers do this. If a publisher thinks their game is going to be good, then they will give it to press and influencers,
like a week early, or like
10 days early, depending on how long they think the game is. If they think it's like a 50-hour experience, they're probably going to give it to you like at least a week early, maybe like 2 weeks at the most. And so people have all this content created as soon as it drops. Now, if a publisher, or some publishers just don't do it at all, never give out code early, but other ones, like, they might go back and forth, because if they don't think the game is going to be that great, they're not going to give out codes early. They're not going to allow early reviews, because I think with Dragon Age, reviews actually came out like 2 days before the game came out. They came out I think the 28th, and the game launched on the 31st.
But they were all over. For the context for our listeners, these were pretty much all over the place. We had people saying it like was the new standard. We had people saying it was garbage. It was all over the place.
Yeah, but I think it netted out around like an 80 something on Metacritic. So overall, pretty positive. The reason I haven't played it. The reason I bring it up is because, again, it's the latest controversy, and we're seeing like a huge disparity in reviews. And I'm just kind of curious, listeners, what you guys think about the review process for users, not for media, but for users. So if you look at Metacritic allows user reviews, but it doesn't verify whether you own the game. On Metacritic, we're seeing like a sub 3 review score for Dragon Age. While the Metacritic score, I think, is over 80. It's like 83, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but it's pretty high.
Wait, Steam, you mean?
No, this is on Metacritic.
But Metacritic, you said Metacritic was low.
Yeah.
Sorry, say it again.
Consumer review score is low. It's like sub 3, but their press review score is like in the 80s.
Thank you.
You're seeing a huge disparity between what press are saying versus what consumers are saying. But then when you go to Steam, you're actually seeing Steam users who are verified buyers. So these people have to have the game in order to review it. It's actually like a 78. So much closer to what press are saying, within a few points. And so you have to ask or wonder, like, for you guys, what do you guys think? Like, do you care about the Metacritic score because you know that it's people who aren't using the game? Do you actually like value the Steam score because it is people who have played? Do you even care about that stuff at all? For me, like, I look at like a Metacritic score from consumer or even like, well, not even just video games, Rotten Tomatoes, same thing, right? Rotten Tomatoes doesn't require you to actually watch a movie to be able to post a user review. So what you see is a lot of people who get like behind a movement, like the anti-woke crazy, and they will no longer, they'll go and like review bomb, right? They'll review bomb something, and then it'll look like it's really bad, even though the vast majority of people reviewing it haven't played it. So it looks like that could be the case with Dragon Age, because you see a lot of much higher reviews of people who've bought it. But again, I haven't played it. I was just really bringing it up because I'm curious for you guys in the comments, hopefully, to let me know or let us know. What do you guys think about consumer reviews? Do you use it as a tool for anything? Does it benefit you, or is it just something irrelevant that you don't really care about?
Yeah, and I'd also like to know our thoughts on Dragon Age. Everyone's thoughts on Dragon Age. No one on our channel is a particular Dragon Age fan. It would definitely be me if anyone was, but I've played every Dragon Age that's been released, at least 10 hours each game, and for whatever reason, it just really doesn't sink in for me, so I probably am not going to spend the money to purchase this game. At this time, it's just not possible. So, let us know. I don't know. I watched a few videos, right? So I'm someone who browses YouTube all the time, looking for just people's thoughts. And a lot of people had some really interesting things to say about Dragon Age. And I kind of like couldn't help but to like, how do I put this? Like, maybe it's the confirmation biased, it's like I'm wanting to hear what I expected to hear, but like it kind of felt like that, where I was just like, yep, that's kind of what I was expecting. And a lot of the feedback some of these people who've played 100 hours in was like, the dialogue was really shallow and like just really like, like a little bit too direct, like they're trying to like, these characters are putting their hearts on their sleeves in this very like weird, like 12-year-old expressing his emotion way, like this made me upset, but being upset is okay sometimes, and it's like, okay, it's fine to like make points like that. That's totally acceptable. But like, the writing needs to be like complex. This isn't a game about, children. It's about war and death and things. And then I had to agree that like I felt like the animation style, not only is it kind of unappealing, but it is very cartoony. It just never really appealed to me in particular. And then kind of like the biggest thing and the most important thing for me has always been combat. And I know there's people who will swear by the Dragon Age combat system, but it just never particularly stood out to me. So I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts, though. If you are playing Dragon Age Veilguard, please let us know your thoughts. And if we get enough responses, maybe we will pick it up and give it a review. But with that being said, I want to talk about a little bit what I've been playing this week, just because there's been a couple things. First off, I want to talk about a really good phone game that has come out recently. All of our Pokemon fans are going to be really excited because they just released a Pokemon the Card Game Pocket app game. So it is basically, what you would think it is. It is the Pokemon card game in an app on your phone or other device. And it's been really fun. You get a couple packs a day for free. You open the packs. You get to have the fun of, trying to get the best shiny characters, And then at a certain point, you unlock the ability to battle. And I don't know. Did you ever play Pokemon cards when you were a kid, Dustin?
I was a fanatic. I used to go to Toys R Us and do the league every weekend, and I have all my gem badges and everything still from when I was a kid.
So you like remember how to play the game a little bit, right?
It's been a long time, but yes, generally yes. Having like my energy cards, like water cards. So I always played a water deck with Blastoise as my main man.
That's funny because that's what I'm playing too. But it's funny because I remember never like we were like 10. Like I didn't read the rule book. I just like did what others told me was the rules. And now that I'm playing it on the app, I'm like, honestly, it really wasn't that far from what we thought it was. Like it was just kind of like you put the Pokemon down, you assign the energy, you evolve him. Like that's it, man. That's the game. So but it's really fun. It's really strategic. It's great when you're like in the car and you just have a few minutes. I've been like really happy with it. And if anyone's like me and enjoys card games but doesn't necessarily enjoy I look, I like the gambling and thrill and getcha of plenty of things, right? Like I'm a human being. I like plenty of those things. But card games in particular, that just I don't want to get into that community. If you've been on Reddit or like seen people like a whole bunch of new Pokemon sets just came out and like people went to Costco and were like buying 3-4 pallets, and I'm like, dude, I just don't want to be part of that scumbaggery. I don't like want to buy packs of Pokemon cards myself and then feel disappointed like because I didn't get what I wanted. So having the digital format for me, it's just friendlier. I don't have to store it and I still get to have fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're looking for a good mobile game, Sam, I know you're always looking for a good mobile game. Check out the Pokemon the card game Pocket.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Like, so is it free? I'm sorry if I missed it. It's free.
Yeah.
So you don't have to buy the packs. There's no pay to win.
Nope.
Nothing. Oh, that's cool then.
There's a premium pass, of course, that, blah, 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 blah. It gives you more free packs. There's actually also this really cool system. It's called, I think it was Wonder Share. I'll have to double check that. And basically, every time someone opens a pack, you can see their success. So since my fiance is my friend, I see hers. So Katie opened up and got a Blastoise. And I was like, sick, good for you. That's awesome. You got a Blastoise.
Give me that
I can spend points to randomly get a chance to get it, actually. So I see that she opened up that pack and I can spend points and it lets me select. It basically takes the 5 cards and shuffles them. And then I can pick one and then I get that card. So you do get to actually benefit from your friends' successes. And yeah, so that's just one of those like little things that's like, yeah, this is a really kind of addicting little game you made here. And I got to be honest, Katie and I pulled out our Game Boys last night. And I got my Pokemon game out, so I'm really nice. It's like we're full into Pokemon again. So yeah, it's been really fun. Which being said, I have another audience question for us. I would very much, and I'll post this on YouTube. That's a good idea. Check out our community posts. What is your favorite Pokemon game? I would love to know. All right. Any other things you've been playing, Dustin, before we dive into some questions and then hit up our main topic?
Not really. Been watching anime still. Watched the latest episode of Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest. It was cool. I think I told you, but I completely abandoned Overlord.
I also abandoned Overlord when I watched it.
I got to the season
it gets boring.
Finale, and it's not that it's boring for me. Well, the lizard arc is boring as fuck. Like they get way too invested.
It was years ago for me. I don't remember.
My problem is the main character is he's not likable. He's not. He's a fucking sociopath who will kill anybody if it means helping his own gain, and he'll let anybody die, even though he could save them, if it doesn't have any gain for him. So I think in like stories and anime, at least for me personally, you want like somebody to root for in some way.
Of course.
Yeah. And he's just not a likable character. And so it makes it difficult for me to want to invest in the story that's being told because one,
there's no direction, right?
Yeah, there's no direction. But again, like him as a main, I wouldn't even say protagonist, like just there's not really a protagonist. It's like, kind of just like an asshole. It's just like, why am I watching this? I'm not invested in the characters. I'm not invested in them accomplishing their goal.
Yeah.
You want him to, like, he literally commits genocide against like multiple different races in the first 2 seasons because he, like, the lizard guys. Sorry, I'm going off a tangent here.
Yeah.
But the lizard people, which is like 5 episodes of a 12 episode season, a 13 episode season, he wants to destroy this whole race of people in the game simply because he thinks that they could be a stronger undead army than if he did it to like a village of people. So he's like, oh, well, they lizard people are stronger than humans, so if I kill all of them and make them undead, they might be stronger than me raising an undead human army. So I'm just gonna fucking kill all these people just because I think they could be a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And he doesn't because of something that happens in the story. But so yeah, fuck that anime. Don't watch it, people.
You know what? If you want a good,
that's it.
If you want a good anime, new out on Netflix, Dawn to Dawn, excellent.
What is
excellent? Dawn to Dawn.
Yeah, you know, low key geeks the last like 2 weeks have actually had
definitely
shirts about this anime.
Very interesting. If you're an anime fan, check it out. Okay, yeah, great. Let's hit some questions here because we have some really good ones today. So, from our main man Ralph, do you have any memorable glitches / exploits in a game?
Yes, we used to love World of Warcraft. We'd fucking dive under Stormwind and run around like an idiot, and you could see like the bottom of Stormwind, and then you'd fall through the floor of that glitch, and then you'd have to
auto unstuck or the unstuck
button. And I think that was I could be wrong. I don't know if that feature was always in the game. I feel like that feature was added because people were finding these fucking glitches, and then like their character was just like in an abyss of air that they could never
basically
get out of. And so like they had to be like, oh, we need to put this auto unstuck button so that people can just get transported back to the fucking one bitch.
So yeah, anywhere, yeah, to their graveyard, yeah. That's a good one. I want to say like there's so many. But like the one that comes to mind, because we're always put on the spot with the questions, you know, the one that comes to mind is like Halo 3 Forge, where you would like take like items and like stack them in the air so you could create like bases like in the sky. I don't know. That was just the one thing that came to my mind. But there's so many. Like one of my favorites. And honestly, this is a good one too, because I think everyone should look this up. In Zelda Ocarina of Time, the speedrunning community for this game is out of this world. They can run this game, which takes most people, 30, 40 hours? Maybe I'm off there, but it's a pretty long game. They can do this in like 15, 19 minutes. They can do the entire game. And the way they do this, one of the biggest ways they do this is by this somewhat, I think, undebatably complicated glitch where you move the character in a very specific form and you warp yourself from the beginning of the game to the last boss of the game. And it is just the way the story behind how they discovered this and how you do it and how people practice this glitch over and over again to try to get quicker times, and basically the difficulty of it is really worth watching. I'll try to find the video that I found that breaks it down, but if not, look up Zelda Ocarina of Time speedrun explained and you will not be disappointed. All right. Oh, I can't hear you, Dustin. Did you?
Yeah, there's also a really good glitch like that in Mario 64 that people would do, where as soon as the game starts, you like do like some backwards like jump into, and it would
so you get speed built up.
Bowser's room. Yeah.
Yep, that's a great one too.
Bowser level right out like 5 minutes into the game.
I'm trying to remember. It's like how that works exactly. So that's another YouTube video I need to find. It's like when Mario jumps and lands on the stairs or something, it doesn't remember the memory, doesn't like remember where he is in the game, or it thinks he's somewhere else, so his speed becomes infinite and then he just like starts zooming. It's really interesting. And you know, you might watch the speedrunner and be like, oh, that was cool, but like it's not easy. It's like a 1 in a million chance, and they're landing it like 1 in every 3 times, you know? So it's really cool. The world of speedrunning in general is something we should do a whole episode on because it's intriguing. It is absolutely intriguing. But anyway, moving on to our next question. Thanks, Ralph. You're the best man. Next question is our character battle week 3. Awesome. I love this. This is a really good one, and it involves anime. In honor of Anime Takeover last week, as well as Sparking Zero release, Vegeta versus Goku. Okay, first thing I gotta say is I only ever watched Dragon Ball Z. So that's probably gonna heavily like inhibit my understanding, because I know those characters like still exist, right? And still have development. So I'm gonna be the old man and just use the old information I have. But what do you think, Dustin?
I didn't hear the question. What was Ralph's question? Argue with this guy on Discord right now about baseball.
Stop arguing on Discord. Stop. All right. In honor of the Anime Takeover last week, okay, as well as Sparking Zero release, Vegeta versus Goku. Who's our winner?
Oh, Goku, 100%. I mean, I like Vegeta. I'd say growing up, I was probably more of a Goku fan, but not Goku every day. I mean,
okay, but here's my follow up. How much of Dragon Ball have you watched? Because I've only ever watched Dragon Ball Z.
I watched a lot of Z. I didn't finish it. I abandoned.
Okay, so you don't know the most recent stuff. I know Goku and Gohan. Yeah, Super. And
I mean, everyone says that Gohan is actually the strongest of like the Earth.
Isn't he like God of times 10 now? Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like it's just like fucking. They just keep finding different power levels to go up.
I don't know. I guess we're both kind of.
Broly's the strongest Saiyan.
Broly, right? I guess we're really both not super knowledgeable on the characters as far as like their current status, but I don't know. I mean, Vegeta's great, and he was like the original redemption story, right? Like in film and television, when you have the main villain becomes like the friend arc. I mean, Vegeta was like kind of the original that, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like in film, just like, just when I was a kid, like he was the first rendition I remember of him being just this great turnaround character who you thought was going to be the main villain, but he ends up being a friend. So, I don't know. I love Vegeta, but Goku's like the main man. Goku's the Superman.
Vegeta met Bulma and was like, I gotta be a good guy.
Then he got on the leash, man. I mean, in a good way. She's awesome, and he's kind of a psycho sometimes.
I read something that in the whole series of Dragon Ball, like Z, GT, Super, that Trunks is the only Saiyan ever to not have black hair. And so because he's it's actually more rare than Broly, who is like the Saiyan like god or whatever, who like is just like once in a generation there's like one Saiyan who's born who doesn't even need to train, and he's just like infinitely more powerful.
Doesn't even need to train.
Yeah. So wow. Trunks is actually more rare because I think he's like the only Saiyan in history that is not had black hair.
So, interesting. Fun fact. Well, we'll have to brush up on our Dragon Ball. Great. Thank you for that question. All right. That was weird. Okay. I think this one's Sam, but it cut off for some reason. Hey, gents. What is your gaming moment of shame? Maybe a hack or an exploit you're not proud of that you used, or a game that has been sitting on your shelf collecting dust. Maybe you pride yourself on playing on hardcore, but you have left it at a lower difficulty for a stubborn boss fight. Mine, Chrono Trigger. I even have the original SNES, but I still have never played it all the way through. That's great, and I understand. I think, Sam, I've also haven't beat Chrono Trigger, although I've played it through quite a few times.
I've never played it.
You're missing out. What's your moment? Okay, moment of... Yeah? Okay. I don't know. I have a lot of moments of shame. I mean, I have ADHD. My entire life has been just trying to beat the games that I couldn't beat when I was a kid. So I don't know. I would say it's all moments of shame for the most part. How do a hack or an exploit? Okay, I got one that's recent. It's not too bad. I think it's pretty low key, but it hurts my soul because I am an adult and I do love this series. So the Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out maybe 2-3 years ago. Who knows? Time is irrelevant. And Mass Effect's like one of my favorite games. So I bought it and I was like, great, I'm going to play through 1, 2, and 3. Hardest difficulty, going to have a blast. It's going to be great. Stop arguing with someone in Discord. So I'm playing through Mass Effect 1, which actually, in my opinion, is the weakest of the series. And I just got to some place where I was pinned. Like, I just couldn't, for whatever was happening, like, there was aliens dropping all around. I didn't have the resources I need. I don't know. I fucked up, and I just could not get through it. And I tried for like 4 or 5 hours, just repeating this level. And I just got so mad, I lowered the difficulty. And I lowered it from the hardest difficulty to the next lower one. And I cleared it. Great, and I'm happy. So I went on to beat the game. I turned the difficulty back, of course, and I went on to beat the game, and then I went on to Mass Effect 2. I beat the game on the hardest difficulty. I went on to Mass Effect 3. I beat the game on the hardest difficulty. And then my worst nightmare happened. Can you guess, Dustin?
Maybe. No. What is it?
I got the achievements for beating it on the hardest difficulty on Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, but I did not get the achievement for beating it on Mass Effect 1 at the hardest, or for beating the whole trilogy at its hardest difficulty. So I spent 100 hours, and for that one level, I screwed my achievement. So that's a big moment of shame for me.
With you saying that, it's not the same moment of shame for me. It's a moment of disappointment. Me and my buddies, we were playing Left 4 Dead 2, and if you beat every level on like the hardest difficulty, you get an achievement. And we were playing through the whole thing, and on the second mission, I fucking died at the very end of the boss fight of that stage, like literally as the fucking helicopter, because it was fucking insane. Like, you're in a stadium and like you're just getting like bombarded by zombies, and like we're on the hardest difficulty. Like, we're like 4-person team, like fucking playing this shit like Counter-Strike, like being prepared to like where guys jump out, like we're all covering, like we're taking it very serious trying to get through this. And the helicopter like lands, and I like get hit by like a crusher or whatever and die, and it's like impossible to get me up because there's just like a million zombies, and like my team takes off, and so I don't get the achievement for that level, or the credit for that level. We go on to beat levels 3 and 4, and so everyone gets this fucking achievement except for me. And I was like, because it's so hard that it was like nobody wanted to do it again because they all did it. They're like, I don't want to do it
bummer.
Again. So that fucking sucked. I guess moment of true shame. But I don't really count the shame. Is purposely trying to find them camera angles. Playing a little bit too much near Automata. Taking advantage of the dance emojis in Overwatch. So
Dustin, just no reason to be ashamed of it.
Hey, it never went
just
beyond
embrace
watching.
it.
Okay, I was never like sitting there doing anything inappropriate other than just like checking out Mercy's her junk.
Oh my gosh! All right, next question. Another one from Sam. Sam, really appreciate it, man. Hey guys, thanks for the mobile tips. I hope you like the one we have in this episode as well. It helped having a distraction and not dwelling on what was going on while I was away from home. Thanks for the well wishes. Yes, man, I'm so sorry to hear you were affected by the floods. There was some damage, but mostly okay. One thing that did not survive was my Series X. Oh no, dude, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm not entirely sure how, because it wasn't anywhere near the water damage, but it was on the floor and had water in it when I got back. Yeah, man, the wind and who knows. The sad thing, that is the sad thing. So my question is do you guys see a future of Microsoft Xbox consoles being competitive? Well, obviously, first and foremost, Sam, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I give a moment of silence for your Series X. We wish you a really swift cleanup and recovery, and our best wishes go to you. Regarding Xbox consoles, I think that's a really good question, actually. Despite the little troubles you're running into now, it's actually a really good question, because Xbox and Microsoft as a brand seem to be moving more towards homogenizing their brand and not focusing exclusively on a console. So I think we're although we're going to see an Xbox console exist into the future, it does not seem like that's going to be their priority. Would you say that's true, Dustin, for our viewers? Yeah. So, I mean, I think I'm like, you've nodded and we have a podcast.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. I always just think people are gonna watch the YouTube. My bad.
Like,
yes.
Okay, great. So, so I mean, I still think there's plenty of a place for it. If you like Xbox, if you've been an Xbox fan, I don't think there's anything wrong. I mean, they're still solid systems; they do their job. But don't be surprised if you're going to be cross-playing with PC players for the rest of time, And as someone who, as we're about to get into right now, plays COD with a buddy who has an Xbox, I don't know. I'm someone who's not convinced. Well, okay, this is. I'm still to be convinced that most controller players can compete with mouse and keyboard players, and that's not like a hit. There are controller players who are incredible and can, but I'm just not convinced that most people can. So it's kind of a predicament, So it's an interesting thought, but sorry to hear about your Xbox, man. That really sucks. Hope you the best. Hope you a quick recovery. Any thoughts on your end, Dustin?
No, okay. I agree with what you said. I think you summed it up.
Yeah. All right, I think we've got one more from Sam. We appreciate all the questions. Sup, dudes? Being that it's October and spooky season, are any of y'all in the horror genre? What's your favorite horror game? Do you have a regular one you play each year? I started with Resident Evil 1 on PS1, but I currently enjoy the Silent Hill 2 game. I wanted to get some VR and do Resident Evil 7. Also, dressing up as any video game characters this year. Great question. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to leave your question for next week for one specific reason. Alex is going to kill us if we do this question without him. Alex is our resident horror game expert. Alex I would call him an expert on the Resident Evil games, and he enjoys that genre. So we'll keep that one for next week, but I'd love to address your second part, dressing up as any video game characters this year. So Alex, I will spoil this. Alex dressed up as Hey Hey from Moana because his little girl was Moana. So he was, we got to walk around with Alex in the chicken suit. That was fantastic. I was just a cast member at Disneyland accompanying my fiance. Did you dress up this year, Dustin?
I did not. I dressed up as a tired
Sorry, Sam.
Dad. As a tired father.
True dad. Yep. Yeah. True dad. So, great. Well, those are our questions. And like I said, we'll leave that the spooky question for next week so that Alex can participate. But this is a great time for the typical YouTuber podcaster thing. Just please, if you would like to ask us a question, we would love to answer it. We answer them in the midpoint of the show, and you can submit those at pixelatedrealms.org/ask. So yeah, we love the community feedback. This is also a great time to say, please like, comment, and subscribe. As everyone says in these videos, it really does mean a lot, and we're trying to grow our audience on all of our platforms, so we really do appreciate that participation. So moving on to our main topic here, we're going to go into a little bit about this new Call of Duty game. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 released, a week ago? Releasing on Xbox Pass, of course. So if you have an Xbox Pass, definitely download it. Just give it a shot. I'm going to be honest, guys. I think I said 2 weeks ago that I'm not even going to download it. Probably put in like 20 or 30 hours already. I've been playing it a lot. I'm actually having a really good time. Dustin, you said you hadn't tried it out yet?
I have not. I have not played it. I have it installed. Like I said, most of my time is going towards Lego games with my son because, my computer is upstairs in our master bedroom in our house, and it's just difficult to actually get up here and disappear for a couple hours because my kids, a lot of kids like Naomi, I think she goes to sleep around 7:30, 8 o'clock or something, right? My kids go to sleep 10. So
yeah, they're older.
I don't have even my 1.5-year-old goes to sleep late. So I don't get that 2 or 3 hours every night where my kids are asleep and I'm up because I have to wake up at 7 to take him to school.
Yeah.
So
So what are
it's
you
just
curious
like,
about this new game? If you were to ask me any questions, like
yeah,
what would bring you to this game if you had free time?
I guess like just generally, like, what are your favorite things about the multiplayer? Like, what feels different? Like, what have they improved? I've been
Yeah, that's a
seeing the
good
single
start.
player
Yeah.
campaign's been getting a lot of love, so curious to see if you've played that yet. And then just like, what are some? We'll go over each of these again, but just to summarize. And then like, what are
Yeah.
some of those like core features that are back? Like, is there a zombie mode in this one? Like, how is it? Like, is that a
Sure.
thing? I'm not sure if Black Ops has it versus Modern Warfare.
So Black Ops actually was World at War. Um Actually, okay, hold on. I'm killing myself here. I thought World at War was the first zombies, but Black Ops might have been the first zombies, but they came out at a very similar time.
Yeah. Okay, so let's
But
start
point
with
being,
multiplayer.
let's start with the campaign actually. Sorry, not to
Okay.
derail,
Yeah,
but I
it's
want to
fine.
start with the campaign because it's unique. So I've always been a huge campaign player in the Call of Duty franchise. In fact, I always thought that was its strongest component. So that's huge for me. It's always been a benchmark. I played Black Ops like 1 and 2 campaigns. I thought they were fine. Going into this campaign, I didn't really have high expectations, but I will say it kind of surprised me with its uniqueness. So you drop into the campaign, you're doing missions. This takes place in the 1990s. Great time. And so you're using like slightly dubbed down modern weaponry, which personally is a little bit more appealing to me. But you go in, of course the game's gorgeous. It looks amazing, as most Call of Duties do nowadays. And you're doing your missions, killing people, whatever may be. But after the first mission, you basically come into this situation where now your team is kind of off the books. And you're actually put into this like mansion, which is one of the levels in the multiplayer. And you are basically told like, hey, this is your mansion and base of operations. Here's your chart of like who you're looking for. Now you have to piece together the puzzle, upgrade your weapons, upgrade your base, go on missions with your guys and gather intel, come out of these missions and basically solve this mystery. And so instead of it being just a direct, you go from this mission to this mission to this mission, it's more of this organic like build up. You're kind of this Black Ops team that's supposed to be off the books. So, you don't go in guns blazing necessarily. Another thing, I'm not very far in it, so I'm not going to I can't really ruin anything. But I will say one of the early levels is a Governor Bill Clinton rally. And I just thought it was so funny. I work in events. I do like galas and things like that all the time. So like I'm walking into this event, this gala, and I'm like looking at the AV, looking at the stage and the layout. And I'm just like, wow, this is kind of a nice, gala you got here. And then for anyone out there who's part of the production team, they had a lighting truss tower, right? On top of this like piece of stage. And I'm just sitting here. This probably means nothing to anybody in our viewership, but it's like you're putting like a piece of like frame structure with lighting on it on a stage. You would never do that, man. Fire marshal would shut that down in a second. So that's me. That's my job coming in, where I'm just like, I'm not shooting anyone. I'm not playing the game. I'm just looking at like the goddamn.
Isn't that fun though? Like, so that happens to me with like, oh my god, it's like a dark British comedy. In the Loop. It's called In the Loop.
Oh,
and it's about this prime minister or department minister in the government, and he like says like this stupid fucking thing about the war in the Middle East that's like off the main line of the government. And throughout that whole movie, like you follow like the main communications head for the prime minister, and he's just like berating people throughout the movie. But there's so many little things throughout that film, like monitoring, like he's listening to old interviews, like he's talking, you're not allowed to go on question time until you get this fucking line down. It's and as a communications person who does PR and interview prep, like it's all real. Like those are very similar. Maybe not as aggressively calling them like a fucking cunt and things like that, like he does, but it's like real stuff that I notice. I'm like, oh man, this is, and I found it even funnier because they did such a good job of like incorporating these little things about PR and comms that we actually do. So
Yeah,
kind of similar
that's
to you
funny.
with this game.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say, I don't have too much more to say about the campaign because I still have a lot to explore. So I'll give us a report when we do our official COD review and Alex is back and when I beat it. But either way, what is the most important thing to know is it's different. They definitely did a little bit of a different take on it. So it's worth diving into if that's your thing. Moving on, you asked if there was zombies. So there is zombies. I'll be honest, I've played zombies in the past, but I was never the kind of person to spend like dozens and dozens of hours in it. For what reason? I don't know. I just never really felt it. This
Is zombie
zombies
mode still like considered hype? Because like I know like in the past, yeah, like people like zombie
it was
mode,
what yeah.
it was like
I
such a
think
big part.
I think a large population of people are still playing zombies. So
Yeah.
just to give a brief overview of this zombies, there's 2 levels available right now. If you've never played zombies, you drop in with either yourself or 4 people, and you're just put into this map, right? At first, you're enclosed into a small portion of that map, and zombies just come in waves, right? So you have a wave come, you kill all the zombies. Killing the zombie makes you money. Once they're all dead, a new wave comes, but the zombies get a little bit harder. Now, obviously, you can use that money to expand your space. So eventually, you'll unlock use that money to unlock the whole map. So eventually, you're running around killing zombies. The zombies are getting harder every time you kill them all. And throughout the map, there's various buffs that you can pay money to increase your ability and your guns. That's it. I mean, it's a really simple game. There is some things that you have to learn, right? Like, where do I go for this or where do I go for that? But in concept, it is the most simple thing ever. So it's really fun, and it's really easy to learn. By the 3rd game, I knew where every buff was, where all the doors open to. It wasn't that complicated. So I actually do recommend it. And I actually think it's a really great start if you're getting started with the game and perhaps you're having trouble with the multiplayer where human beings are really good at this and and you're having a hard time. Zombies is a great place to not only level up your weapons, but it gives you great experience to level up your just general character, which gives you access to more equipment in the multiplayer to use for your loadouts. So this is kind of a quick tip. If you're just starting the Call of Duty 6, you have no equipment, you don't even have the ability to create a loadout. You have no equipment to choose, even if you did have loadouts, and you're having trouble in multiplayer. Start out with zombies, play a couple games of zombies that'll level you up to like level 4 or 5, and then you can go have access to loadouts and a few more weapon options. So yeah, I actually really do recommend zombies. The first level has been pretty easy. I've gotten like past like level 20. Every like couple waves of zombies, it gives you the opportunity to leave. Now this is always fun because you're with random people, so you'll be like, do you guys want to leave? And like everyone's like, no, we're staying, and then they'll be like, okay guys, helicopter's going away, and then like a huge wave of zombie come and we all die, and then we don't get out of the game and we lose. I was getting so pissed at this because nobody would leave. I started a solo game. I got to level 10 or whatever, or wave 10, and then I exfilled myself and I got the achievement for finally winning. I was like, this is bullshit. So, yeah, definitely check out the zombies, guys. It's really fun. If you enjoyed zombies in the past, you will love zombies in the future. There's even like research and things to build up through to build up your character.
That makes me think of that viral Wheel of Fortune clip where the guy says bitches in the future, but it's Bitcoin is the future. Zombies in the future. I was like, I have Bitcoin is the future. Fucking bitches in the future. So anyway, sorry.
Another cool thing, if you've been on like social media, is there's tons of Easter eggs. So I won't ruin it, but there's like dozens of things throughout these maps that you can unlock. Just silly, cool, just like bowling, laser people. Like there's a lot of variety. So take a look at that. All right, well, let's move on to the multiplayer then, since we're kind of coming up on our time. The multiplayer has always been a great part of Call of Duty. It, in a lot of ways, besides GoldenEye, right? Call of Duty modernized multiplayer first-person shooters. Counter-Strike and Call of Duty together. And so in this form, it just does much of the same, right? You play the game, in the beginning, you have no weapons, you have no attachments, you have no variability in your builds. You're running in, you're getting shot in the back. It's chaos, right? Call of Duty multiplayer is chaos. But after a while, you start to develop a preference with the weapons you like. You start to get some attachments. You start to, maybe hide a little bit more or run a little quicker or move a little better. And you start to level up and you start to feel good. And after a while, I got to admit, this Call of Duty feels really good. I am really impressed. Maybe my expectations were low, but I am having a blast running around Nuketown, playing Gunfight, developing my builds. I mean, overall, this Call of Duty has really just hit all the marks for me. And I'm really happy to say I'm enjoying it a lot.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played much COD multiplayer. I did do quite a bit I wouldn't say quite a bit. I did enjoy Warzone. And has Warzone just become like its own game now, basically, right? It's like
it is, yeah. And it's not, right now it's not updated. Just so if people know, Warzone is not updated to Black Ops 6. Yeah, it is still Modern Warfare 3.
Does it usually update?
My understanding is it will, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, like, I enjoyed PUBG and I liked that, so Warzone was fun for me. But yeah, some of the, as someone who played Counter-Strike growing up so much, and like even like team-based, like actual competitive teams and stuff. COD's like a little bit too chaotic.
Yep.
Like Battlefield is ultimate chaos, right? And like I loved Battlefield growing up also because like it was just like batshit insane, 30 on 30, and then you had Counter-Strike, which was like much more like dialed in, like 5v5 team-based strategy. And COD is always kind of like in the middle of those two for me. Like you had small maps that were, but like I just kind of like was like an extremist on one of the other side and never really played much COD. I think also because there's always been like a rivalry between COD and Battlefield, and sure, over the past
but it's
5 years, like COD has obviously far surpassed the success of Battlefield.
But, well, obviously, Call of Duty is the most successful first-person shooter. Like, there's nothing that beats that one as far as like success goes. But I mean, having grown up with all these titles, they feel all of them feel extremely different to me, right? Like, if I were to put them into like really crappy categories, it'd just be like Call of Duty is its own type of chaos, right? And I before we wrap up, I do want to share one criticism. The same criticism I share about every single Call of Duty, and the same criticism that will always be in a Call of Duty. Why am I getting shot in the back right after spawning? And it's like spawn, shot in the back, spawn, shot in the back, spawn, shot by the side.
And about that, there was like a article about it, and I only read the headline, but I guess in this COD, it's even worse than normal.
It's the same. It's just always been bad. It's always been bad. And it's just funny because like I know it's coming, man. Like I just know, like literally I was sitting there playing yesterday and I'm just like, I spawned looking through my scope and I go 3, 2, 1. I turn around and there's a guy spawning and shooting me in the back. I'm just like, it's predictable.
The issue is that they don't like the spawn locations happen too frequently where like,
so what happens?
Guy will spawn right after you and kill you.
Basically, so what ends up happening in Call of Duty that fucks with the system is in Call of Duty, right? Say we're just doing a rectangular map, side A and side B. If team A runs to B's spawn point, the game has to make a choice. Hey, there's an enemy in the spawn. He has 2 things he can do. He can move the spawn to another location that'll be less optimal, or he can choose to spawn them where the enemy is, right? And that game will make both of those choices. So sometimes you will spawn and there will be an enemy next to you, or sometimes you will spawn in the middle of the map and you're like, well, now I'm in the middle of the fucking map and the enemies were in the middle because they ran there first. So there's no it has to make this choice, and there's no good choice for small maps. And so it's not necessarily their fault, but it's inherent to the chaos of Call of Duty when you try to put 12 people on a map that is literally like, whatever, the size of a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, and that was always one cool thing about Battlefield. The maps are massive, and like
That's a big difference. Yep, it's a huge difference.
So you pick your own spawn, which is always super cool.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, think about it. Like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, Counter-Strike. Like, those are all very distinct shooter titles. They're all first-person shooters. They all are multiplayer online, but they all are very distinct in their flavor. I could not, those four do not actually compare to me, you know?
So, despite whatever hate I'll get for saying this, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who disagree with me, Halo does not belong in the conversation with those other three
anymore,
games.
maybe.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Ever, though. Honestly, like...
What?
Like,
no. It was a landmark when Halo 1 and 2,
from
3.
campaigns, yes. Like, the Halo campaigns are fantastic.
No, multiplayer too.
Nah, that multiplayer always sucked, dude.
Multiplayer and you're wrong. In Halo 1, 2, up to like Reach, Halo multiplayer was hype, and a lot of people still play it. But let me say that's a topic for another time. I want to know
as the other ones. It's not nearly as like
you think it's not as okay, fair enough.
In terms of like I'm not saying it's bad, but like what these other three games have done just far exceeds what Halo has been able to do on a multiplayer level.
I think that is a great topic to end on because I want to hear what our viewers think about that. Do you think Halo is an overhyped shooter game?
To the end because,
exactly. I want to know. Please throw in because I disagree. I think Halo is a groundbreaking multiplayer and campaign game. Dustin does not think Halo is an important multiplayer game. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Fine. It's just not as good as Battlefield, COD, or Counter-Strike.
And tune in next week so we can discuss this more. Now, I do just want to say, in light of how we're ending here, we're really trying to encourage retention and get full viewership of our videos. Please, if you made it this far, thank you so much. It means so much to us. If there's anything, if you have any comments or questions or things that we can talk about that can help keep your attention here and focused, we would love to know. So thank you for all the engagement so far. Did you have anything you wanted to close out with, Dustin, before we closed out today?
No. If you disagree with me, you suck.
I do. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, well, thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you have a great rest of your week. And if this is comes out after the election, please, or before the election, regardless, we hope you voted or thank you for voting. And we will see you next time. Bye.